Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA?
MMA.
Nothing else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Colby Covington fought Rafael Dos Anjos last night in the co-main event of UFC 225. It was an interim title fight. Winner of this fight got crowned the UFC's interim welterweight champion, and they will be squaring off lightly against Tyron Woodley in the near future. But as far as the fight is concerned, Colby Covington, man, he was the bigger fighter coming in here, which was kind of expected. He was the more natural welterweight. Rafael Dos Anjos was probably the more talented, more skilled fighter coming in here. He was the former UFC lightweight champion, moved up to welterweight, and was undefeated at welterweight at 3-0. Rafael Dos Anjos had wins over, I believe, Tarek Safadine, Neil Magny, and also Robbie Lawler most recently before fighting for this interim welterweight strap. Hell, if Rafael Dos Anjos could have won this fight, and I mean, there was a lot that had to happen, but there was talks of Rafael Dos Anjos potentially fighting Conor McGregor for the interim welterweight strap at UFC 224. That didn't materialize, so he was left with Colby Covington at UFC 225. Colby Covington, fucking the UFC's most hated fighter. Everybody hates Colby. He's a jackass. That's why right now he's drinking a bunch of nerd tears with the belt on his waist, because everybody was rooting for him to lose. Every single nerd in the world, as well as the Brazilians and just a lot of other people. But the nerds in particular, as Colby Covington is on a hashtag NerdBash 2018 campaign right now. He spoiled Star Wars. He did a whole lot of shit that pissed people off before this fight. And with that being said, people were rooting for Rafael Dos Anjos to come in here and shut Colby Covington down, whether it be a knockout, whether it be a submission. People thought Rafael Dos Anjos would be the guy to get the job done and derail the Colby Covington hype and the trash talk and shut this guy up once and for good. But that's not how the fight played out, as Colby Covington is one of the most talented wrestlers in the welterweight division, and he showed it in this fight. He pressed Rafael Dos Anjos against the fence for a lot of the fight, where he did a lot of his work controlling that position. He scored takedowns in this fight, and he was never submitted or knocked out. But with that being said, there were a couple of surprising exchanges on the feet in this fight. Between Rafael Dos Anjos and Colby Covington. Colby showed a little bit of a chin. He ate a couple of shots from Rafael Dos Anjos. But honestly, coming into this fight, I personally didn't expect RDA to knock Colby out. And I say that just because Rafael Dos Anjos, he fought Robbie Lawler in his last fight. And that was a fight where he landed, I don't know, like a fucking 180 hit combo against RDA against the fence. Like, it was some brutality, Mortal Kombat type shit. Like, I expected Robbie Lawler to like blow up and just to hear Dana White, brutality. You know what I'm saying? From the sideline, hit that motherfucking intercom, brutality. So, but with that being said, Rafael Dos Anjos was moving up from lightweight, so it might explain, the power difference. He's going to have more speed up here, more precision, but maybe not as much power as some of the other welterweights. But he still tested Colby Covington's chin a little bit with some left hooks, some uppercuts. But Colby Covington also showed some striking himself, some leg kicks. He clipped up Rafael Dos Anjos himself with, so this fight actually ended up being entertaining. It had its spurts, right? That's how a fight with a wrestler can go, though. It wasn't like a slugfest barn burner the entire fight. But whenever Colby Covington wasn't controlling Rafael Dos Anjos against the fence or in a takedown, there was some, pretty exciting striking going on. I don't recall if either fighter got knocked down. Colby Covington might have got clipped one time and been in trouble, but other than that, man, he looked good in the fight. Was able to get the W, a unanimous decision. Of course, he got on the microphone and immediately called out Tyron Woodley. That's a fight we got lined up very realistically after this. I mean, Dana White had to put the belt on. Look at Herb Dean's face, low-key, though. We'll talk about Tyron Woodley versus Colby in just a second. But Colby Covington got crowned UFC champion. He's got UFC gold. Colby Covington now, it's the interim strap, but he feels like it's the real belt. Herb Dean, I forgot, what was it? Was Colby Covington getting eye poked, or did he get like kicked in the dick? I forget which happened in the fight, but I remember he would like call to Herb Dean for help during the fight. Like, whether, let's say he just, he thought RDA scratched him in the eye, right? So after the break, he looked at Herb Dean like, "Hey, yo," he scratched me in the eye. Herb was like, "Fight!" Well, Herb Dean was not trying to hear none of that shit. Wrong referee, buddy. You're gonna, you know what I'm saying? You talking all that shit. You gotta think. Maybe the judge, and that's one thing about talking all this shit. You gotta be careful not to piss off the referees and the judges, right? What if one of the judges was offended and said, "You know what? Fuck Colby." You know, like the judges completely shit on the scorecards because they don't agree with Colby Covington. Wouldn't that be fucked up? You know what? Fuck Colby. What if two of the, like, there's 3 judges. I'm just saying, what if 2 of the 3 judges were like, you know what? Fuck Colby. And they don't know what the other judges were doing, so they just wanted to be the one judge, you know, like, fuck Colby. But then the judges come out, and what if they read a split decision for Rafael Dos Anjos because 2 of the judges were like, fuck Colby? Oh, that would have been crazy and hilarious. But Colby's got to be careful pissing all these people off. I don't think he's crossed the lines yet, but that could just be my lines. It's hard to cross my lines, you know what I'm saying? I know there's some people that are a little more sensitive out there than me, so maybe he has crossed the line to some people. But to me, crossing the line is if he started dropping F-bombs and N-bombs and J-bombs. I mean, I'm just saying, if he started dropping, like, really derogatory terms, like, you know what I'm saying? The words that you know of as racist words. Like, if he started dropping those, or even sexist, like, if Colby Covington started calling people faggots and shit, I think that the UFC would probably pump the brakes on him, or not even the UFC sponsors, whoever the fuck. You know, if he started calling Tyron Woodley a nigger, I really think, I don't think it would go as well for Colby Covington. Right now, he's walking a thin line. I don't think he's going through it. But like I said, if he starts dropping F-bombs and N-bombs, Colby Covington might actually cross that fucking line. We'll see what happens. He hasn't did anything that crazy, but he's still talking about fighting Tyron Woodley, and who knows how he's going to decide to sell this fight. Maybe he's got a fucking N-bomb up his sleeve. I have no fucking clue. But now we've got a UFC welterweight champion in Tyron Woodley and a UFC interim welterweight champion in Colby Covington. These 2 guys are not teammates, former teammates. I mean, they have the Dan Lambert like relation, but these guys don't like each other. It's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. In the post-fight speech, a media member asked Colby, "Aren't you kind of worried that maybe some of your teammates that, you know, they like Tyron Woodley as well because he's their teammate? Don't you think they might give Woodley some of your camp secrets if they're pissed off at you?" And he said, "I'm sure I'm going to have private training for this training camp, so we ain't got to worry about that. I got my best friend Jorge Masvidal. I got my boy, who'd he say, Dustin Poirier." Yo, I don't want Colby Covington dropping my name at the post-fight speech, you know, because then you start getting heat. Like, hey, so Colby said he's your boy, Dustin Poirier. What do you think about all the shit Colby's saying, you know? Like, are you going to help him train to beat up your other teammate? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Colby Covington says you're his boy, you get questions. You know, Masvidal gets asked, well, you know, your teammate Colby Covington says some pretty disrespectful shit. What do you have to say about that? Like, would you agree with what he has to say? You know, you put your teammates in kind of a weird position. But, hey, man, it is what it is. Clearly, it's working, as he was in a title fight. Now he's a UFC champion. Interim champion. You know, some people don't really put much credit into the interim belt, but you know Colby's going to. He's probably fucking sleeping with that interim belt, probably on the way to the White House. Hell, he said one of the things he wants to do is take the belt and put it on Trump's desk. I don't think Colby Covington's kidding, and Dana White even said he could get that done. You know, Dana White and Donald Trump, they go way back, I guess. But they asked Dana White, "You think you'd be able to get Colby to the White House?" He was like, "Yeah, I could do it." So I would not be surprised. But actually, I will be surprised. They've talked about it, but I still, literally, if I see a picture with Colby Covington and Donald Trump and the UFC belt in the White House, I'm done. I can't even. That would be crazy if Colby Covington really went to the White House and put the fucking belt on Trump's desk. I can't even. But if it happens, that would just be absolutely insane. But that's what Colby Covington wants to do, so we'll see if it happens. Holy smokes, if that does happen, bro, I'm taking that picture and I'm literally photoshopping Tekashi 6ix9ine in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the 3 biggest trolls out there right now. But they're on top of the game, I guess. I mean, but it is what it is. Another topic for another day. Colby Covington defeated Rafael Dos Anjos to become the UFC's interim welterweight champion at UFC 225 in the co-main event. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for checking out this video. If you're new, or if you're just slip or slacking on your pimping, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to help support this independent channel, you can either click the PayPal button in the description, or you can go to patreon.com/fulltimemma and consider becoming a patron. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.